Hi folks, I'm the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics. Today I'm going to give you some pointers for cutting firewood, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. Now you'll see in just a moment that where I'm cutting is in an area that was previously logged. And once the logging company left, and I guess they arranged this with the landowner, but they left a lot of the tops of trees, which were not good for saw timber. So let me change my camera angle and I'll show you what you can run into and give you some pointers on how to address this. Hi folks, Bald Guy here with just a few tips for you if you're going to the woods. Safety equipment is a must, and that includes some things that you see behind me. You need a good set of tough leather work gloves. That'll protect your hand, especially some woods are more prone than others to splinter. It protects you in so many ways. The orange hard hat there, which you can see, it has a droppable face shield, but what is really neat about it, it has the integrated hearing muffs, hearing protection, which when you run a saw for 5 minutes, it may not matter to you, but you can still damage your ear or your hearing. But when you're running a saw for an hour or two, you're going to damage your hearing. Also, sometimes I'll pull that face shield up on that thing because it does block a little light. Always have a good set of eye protection. And I like eye protection that comes up close under my eyes because the chips flying off the saw. But there's one other thing I want you to know. Now, I want to pan around again. I'm holding my camera aloft. We've just done a 360. And you know what you didn't see? You didn't see a road, and maybe over the grub row there where the bulldozers are pushed up, you can see a house in the distance. That house is a good quarter of a mile, maybe 3/8 of a mile away. And it's there's some old folks living there that could not help me if I needed to. One of the greatest things you'll do for safety is let someone know exactly where you are and when you're cutting. My wife does different kind of work, so she's out on the road today, and one of the things I did is texted my location to her. So when she checks on me later, if I'm not where I'm supposed to be, she would have no way. I'm 25 miles from our house where I have access to this land. So how would she know where to find me if I did not give her a geographic location? So what I did, I just texted to the driveway, which is out there at that house, and then described to her how I come across the pasture to get here. So always let someone know where you are and even when you are. Another good feature, I'm an Apple person. Yes, they are expensive, but one of the features I love about Apple is it has the Find My Phone feature, which works on your phone, on your tablets, and even on your laptops. She can literally pull up her phone, open her Find My Phone feature, and I have sent her a link to where she can trace my location. That also helps. If you have family members, good friends, I highly recommend using that as well. Always be safe and let others know where you are. Keep your phone with you. You'll often see in my videos me wearing these headsets. If I were to fall, if a tree branch were to pin me, I may or may not be able to get the phone, which is usually located on a holster on my hip. However, with a touch of these controls, I can vocally instruct my technology, call 911 or something like that. So always learn to be safe and know how best to get help in the case of an emergency. Also, take some first aid stuff with you wherever you go. When you're working with equipment, it's a good idea. As I pan around here, you're looking at what some people in this part of the country call, I'm cutting in the laps. I don't know where they got that phrase from, but this is what I wanted you to see. I mean, the best place for you to find wood is wood that's already down. So when you find a landowner that is clearing land, even if you don't know them, go ask. Say, hey, would you be willing to let somebody cut wood in the laps once the saw timber people are done? And in this case, a beautiful piece of white oak, couple of trunks of white oak here laying together. Now, I'll just tell you, as a firewood person, right here's the good stuff. It's big, it's splittable. So, but I want you to notice it's off the ground, but there's a lot of weight in the top of this tree. Where would you start? As a novice, you might want to start and clean up, because walking around in this stuff, all of this stuff will snag your feet. So you got to clean it up. But if you start on this end, what you're doing, I have a piece here, and look on this side. You see this piece right here. I have two pieces that are preventing this log from rolling. If I start on this end and if I cut these off, I am releasing the upper part of this tree to twist. So always, when you have wood down like this, start at the far end. So I'm going to start up here as much as I can reach from the ground and just section it up. And then this one's way above my head, so I'll come down here and cut it off. What I want to do is to relieve the upper part of the tree from the excess weight, so that as I come down this trunk here, it will not be as prone to twist, because I'll free it up. Always work from top to bottom. You see down here, here's another piece that is holding the tree from twisting. People who, with rising fuel costs, we got more people cutting wood than ever before. And people who don't have a lot of experience, they'll just start somewhere. Maybe they'll come right here, or even down here, and try to cut this out of their way, and they get hurt because a tree rolls over. Always be aware of where the weight is on the tree and where it will tend to move. Another thing, a nice little trick, let me walk back here. As you look along the side of this tree, you can see where the weight lies. You can see where it will tend to push. Now, you got to be aware of which branches belong to which tree, but you can see there's some extra weight here, but these pieces going out here, they're longer, so they're going to offset it. So this thing is going to tend to go this way. The second thing you need to know, let me come over here. You know, when you're cutting wood, we typically go in, we make our cuts here and here, and the wood just falls right down. On any given piece of wood, there are two forces at work. This piece of wood, if I cut it here, excuse me, if I cut it here, the weight of the end of it is going to bring this piece down. So on the top of the wood is tension. So up here, it's pulling this way. Down here is called compression, because if I have my blade down here and the wood falls, the limb falls, it's going to pinch my blade. So always be aware of where the tension is, where the compression is. Now, I came over here to show you this. You see right here, that piece is against the ground. So from here out, the tension, that is the tendency to open up, is on the top and the compression is on the bottom. But when you get to this point where it's touching the ground, all the way back, the tension is on the bottom and the compression is on the top. So if you're making cuts, and you get to right here, you're cutting from the top and it's falling away and everything's cool. You cut right here, the compression is now where your chain is if you're cutting from the top, and it'll pinch your blade. So you need to be aware of tension and compression. That's why it's far simpler to start out here and let things drop, because you're not having contact with the ground to reverse the tension and the compression. Well, here we are in the woods. Wood to my left and wood to my right. Wood keeps going plumb out of sight. You see there's a grub row over there, which is pretty tangled up. You're going to face a choice when you come to the woods. Where are you going to start and how are you going to proceed? You can see here, I've got a lot of snags, a lot of stumps, and got the old trusty wood truck here behind me. So one of the things that I do planning my cuts, I see this stuff in the way you see, I'm looking at making myself a road. So I'm going to have to cut some of this stuff on each side and some of it on the bottom, because what I ultimately want to do, number one, I want to get down here with the truck to the wood I'm cutting. Well, here I am cutting down here, and I've got all this stuff in my way. So what you want to do is cut as you go and create a road. So as you see down here, the further I go, the more options I have. So I want to be able to get down here, number one, and I want to be able to turn around. There's a lot of open space here where I can back a truck and turn around. So sometimes, and this isn't a great example, this is desirable wood. It rained quite a bit over the weekend, so it looks really wet. This wood is actually very dry, and once it's split, it's going to be ready to burn in no time at all. I mean, a matter of a couple of days once I have split it and let that superficial water get out. But I want to be able to cut access for myself. So always plan your cuts. This tree, a lot of nice firewood, but I don't want to have to pick it up here and carry it up there. So be sure you plan your cuts ahead of time and make your work as productive and as efficient as possible. So what I'm going to do is go back and I'm going to clean up some of this stuff until I can pull the truck down here and make it a lot easier for myself. Firewood cutting is a dangerous proposition. Always wear appropriate eye protection. Also wear hearing protection, especially if you're making multiple cuts. But there's a lot of energy in firewood. The oldest joke in the world, I guess, among firewood people is firewood is the best heat in the world. It keeps you warm when you're burning it. It keeps you warm when you're toting it. It keeps you warm when you're splitting it. It keeps you warm when you're hauling it. It keeps you warm when you're cutting it. There's a lot of heat in firewood. I'm the bald guy, wishing you a safe and productive trip to the woods. And I hope that you'll hit the like and the subscribe button for more videos just like this. Have a good day.